Hi, Homeworthy. I've been waiting for you. My name is Ally. Welcome to my Ridgewood home. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
My name is Ally Doman. I am an interior designer and we are in my home in Ridgewood, Queens. We found this apartment through my husband Evan's friend. She's a born and bred New Yorker. She's a real estate agent, so she knows her New York apartments. This was a family apartment, so I believe it was her great aunt who owned the space. It's one of those like iconic Ridgewood 6-family buildings, and we knew that we only had a day to decide because this is one of those New York miracles because it's quite a nice size space and it is a rent stabilized building. So we got in very fast and just made the decision. We knew we had to have it. We definitely knew that the space really needed some TLC because the people that lived in this building prior to us, they had been living here for decades. They raised multiple generations here. And so, you know, they kind of let it slip a bit. I know it's not typical to renovate a rental, but because of the condition that I was in, it really felt like it was necessary. And of course, we got approval from the landlord. We added all new hardwood flooring. We even added like a second layer underneath the hardwood because Evan is a drummer. And so we're on the top floor and we knew that if he wanted to, you know, make his music, practice his drums, we didn't want to bother our neighbors. So there was sort of another element to the renovation. We totally transformed the kitchen. We added new tiles. We added all new appliances. Same goes for the bathroom. We did keep some original things. The tub is original, and the kitchen backsplash. And of course, we kept all the gorgeous built-in cabinets that were here prior. You know, this is pre-war, so these date back to 1930s, around that era. So that charm is really what sold us on the space. So here we are in my living room. This is the first room that you see when you walk in, and I'm obsessed with my wall colors. It took me a while to decide which color I thought would be perfect for this space. I actually got the green couch first, so I knew that it had to go with green, and I wanted it to be rich. I wanted it to feel, you know, like this sort of perfect mid-tone, not too bright, not too pale. I tested out a ton of different Farrow and Ball colors, which is a British company, one of the oldest paint companies in the world. Their paint is lead-free. It's like way better for you than most paints. So I definitely wanted to upgrade my paint selection a bit. And of course, Farrow and Ball, it's just like iconic. So had to have it. So tested out quite a few different colors and settled on this one. It is called Dutch Orange. And I believe it now might be part of their archival collection, but it's actually cool. They've featured my home on their website to show off the color. So I'm quite proud of that. And I definitely feel like this is such an invigorating color. It's so alive. It makes me feel happy. It's like sunshine. I know that you've probably immediately saw this painting, which is one of my favorite purchases I've ever made. This is a recreation of a painting called The Joy of Life by Matisse. And I first saw this painting, the real one, actually in Philadelphia, where I'm from, at the Barnes Museum. I saw this piece. It's massive and it actually has its own room. And I just have this like beautiful, vivid memory of seeing that. And just took my breath away. Like, I think the title is so real because for me, this is the joy of life. I literally feel like I'm the redhead girl in the middle. I just sort of am obsessed with like her pose. She's so relaxed. She's so sensual. She's so free. She's watching her friends gallivanting around this like mystical, colorful forest. And she's got her lady with her, and there's lovers and music. And it's just like the epitome of joy. You can literally see the color like right here. So I love that, it picks up this art piece, and I want to show it off. This was like one of my first big girl purchases, shall we say. So these pillows, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with these. These are Cold Picnic, which is a Brooklyn-based design company. I really like to feature a lot of like local Brooklyn artists. So you'll see that throughout my home, but yeah, they're so fun. I love the colors, and I mean, come on, tell me that's not perfect with the walls. And then I have my little alligator one here, so cute. And yeah, I mean, red and green, classic combo. This blanket was actually gifted to me from one of my good friends, and this is also a Brooklyn-based designer. It's called Color, spelled CLR, and the designer makes these beautiful quilts and blankets. They're just so special. They're also reversible, so you can actually see that I could decide if I wanted to go, that direction. I love this though, because this is has the blue in it, which you'll see in just a moment. Lots of blue in my space. I'll talk a little bit about my coffee table. I describe her as a lady because she looks like she's this sort of gorgeous, sensual, curvaceous woman just laying down. And that's also a running theme in my house. I also love that it mimics a lot of the shapes of the Matisse piece. And this is a biomorphic table. It's from around like 70s, 80s, like more of a postmodern piece. So I think it goes well with the shape of the mid-century sofa. My husband and I went to go pick it up, and I took off the glass part, nice and light. It's tempered glass. It's like indestructible. I have dropped 1,000 things on here and not even a scratch. It's insane. And then he had the bottom part, and so he sort of picked her up, and he kind of was just like, all right, honey. And I was like, oh, you have a damsel in distress. You're walking home with this sort of fabulous woman in your arms. So, I mean, it was just this funny visual that I think about. But yeah, I think also the fact that it's black is a really important thing to consider, because there is so much color that I love to find ways to use black to ground all the color, and specifically black and white. That is like my favorite color combination. I think that it's just chic. It's very New York. It's retro. So yeah, you're gonna see a lot of black and white as well. Let's see, we have this Jonathan Adler ruggable. I have 2 cats, so a ruggable was appropriate. We talk about a repeating motif in the home. I have a lot of like graphic, geometric stripes, squares, tiles. So just really sort of on theme in a way of like the retro New York City apartment. I love how it's sort of an ombre palette. So it goes from a darker blue into the lighter tones, and then obviously picks up some pretty reds and purples, which you'll also see in my space. So it's a nice sort of introduction to the palette of the home and brings it all together. So now I want to point your attention upward to our ceiling. We have this really cool, actually styrofoam ceiling that we just installed. It's just these sort of big tiles that you essentially put some glue on, stick them up. Of course, it takes a little bit of math because it has to be, accurate, and you have to cut the pieces in the shape of the space. But I just had my friend do that for me, and obviously it's sort of meant to replicate a classic New York tin ceiling. So this is a really great way to cover a less than ideal ceiling. Ours was just a really basic sort of drop ceiling, square boxes. It definitely had a little bit of damage, some discoloration. So I'm really excited about this upgrade. And I love that it sort of reflects a little bit of like I said, old New York, old world, Art Deco. So yeah, it's a great new addition. And I also love it for the backdrop of my chandelier. This is a Sputnik, mid-century style custom piece that was something that I got as soon as I knew I was going to own a green sofa. They have this sort of crazy, wacky, almost like futuristic energy. I also think that they provide a lot of nice light because, you know, you get a ton of light bulbs that you can turn on and off or dim. We just sort of decide that we only want about half of them on, depending on kind of like the workflow, or if we, you know, want more mood lighting or task lighting. So yeah, I really like this piece. It's funky and it's loud. I like that. And then in the mid-century realm, I inherited this gorgeous media cabinet. It's stores our record player, which my husband Evan loves. He has a massive collection. You'll see that later. Oh, it's my cat toy. I was like, what's happening? I have my cat toy in here. So that's just a little like behind the scenes moment for you, that my kitty cats, they need their little bits of entertainment as well. So I'll put this somewhere else. So it opens up and, oh, we don't have any wine stored right now and it's a bit dusty, but you can store beautiful bottles of wine, booze. We are more like drinkers, not savers. So we don't really save the booze. But it's such a cool piece. And my mom actually, she held on to it for many years because she knew she wanted to pass it down to one of her kids when they had a real adult home. And I was the first one of us, so I got it. And I just love how it's simple. It doesn't have a lot of, you know, ornate details, bells and whistles. It's just like a really beautiful, clean, minimal piece with gorgeous reddish, you know, walnut wood. And it's also a perfect size. You know, obviously this nook has its limitations. But it was, yeah, it worked out perfectly. Also, this is kind of crazy. This wood on our speakers matches so flawlessly. And these were actually something that my husband had gotten ages ago. So there was no connection to my piece and then his speakers. So I love these. They almost feel like part of the set in a way. And I love this sort of linen fabric on it. And yeah, it's just a really like cool retro space. I love to show off this built-in, again, original pre-war feature that I'm so grateful to have. I decided to paint most of our built-ins black because, you know, deciding that I was going to keep some of the walls white, I knew that the black would really pop, and this is something that I, you know, really want to show off. So I think it was a pretty good choice to do that. I mean, you can see how stunning these little details are, so ornate, so just so, you know, so authentic to the building. So I love that. And yeah, you know, this is an eclectic bookshelf. I did sort of attempt to do like a color coding moment. That was definitely a pandemic in the house lockdown project, shall we say. These are just some really fun little like bubble shaped candle holders I got in Bushwick. The matching one is in my room. This is this stunning piece of pottery, ceramic. I mean, it's such a fabulous little sipping cup. I mean, I don't actually sip out of it, but I wish I did. Actually, I would feel chic with my espresso in the morning and this like fun gold details. But no, this is actually handmade by one of my friends. She's you know, she owns her own business. It's called Domingo Ceramics. So look her up because her stuff is amazing. She actually makes this. I just got one of these as a gift from one of my clients actually. And you can get an entire set of these. So they're like the perfect table scape for a party or tea or coffee. I love this one. Another lounging lady, go figure. So this is an old ashtray. Look at this. This girl's a little bit more active than my coffee table and my Matisse girls. She's got the whole, you know, sort of can. And then look at this. She has her own little fan. So you put the, you know, the butt in there. I love Judy Garland. I love Dorothy. Actually, one of my favorite things about my time performing on the stage, and I still do, I go to cabarets, I'll sing at piano bars, I have like a whole Judy Garland set that I'll do. And I wrote a show, it was a one-woman play about Judy Garland and Dorothy, and so I performed that in London and New York. So I have a ton of little, Easter eggs, if you will, of Judy and Dorothy. That's one of them. I also have this really cool old Wizard of Oz children's book, one of the original ones my dad gave to me. So yeah, I definitely love to have all the women and people that inspire me. Here's my husband when he was younger. He's so cute. This is him. These are just some photos from our wedding with his best lady. We had a best lady instead of a best man. One of our biggest things that we did was we changed out the flooring. When we found it in its condition, the floors were like a really beaten up laminate tile. They were just they really needed work. So we decided that we were gonna just go big or go home. But one of the challenges of adding this floor was that the home was completely sloped. So we actually had to add a new subfloor, which definitely prolonged the renovation process. My husband is a drummer, so we also wanted to consider the fact that we were on the top floor, and if he wanted to practice or play music, we just wanted to make sure that our neighbors didn't want to, move out because we were loud. So we, by adding that extra layer, it was very useful. Yeah, it's definitely an amazing feature to have brand new hardwood floors in a pre-war rental. Yeah, so my design style is definitely eclectic. I think that's the best way to describe it, because I really love to mix and match so many different design aesthetics and pieces from different eras. I take inspiration from so many different people who have so many unique styles. So, I brand my business as Colorful and Comfortable Homes by Ally Doman. And I think the colorful part definitely applies to this space. Originally, when we moved in, I lived with mostly white walls because I knew that I wanted to get a sense of the space and how it felt to me. Color is so much about how you want to feel, and you don't really have that information until you get to spend time in it. And of course, some people don't have the luxury of doing that, so that's when you hire me and I walk through the home and I get a sense of where the light is coming in, and we do a whole evaluation and really decide which colors work best for my clients and for the space. But yes, colorful and of course comfortable. Functionality is the most important thing. The home has to work for you and the way you want to live in it. If you're an entertainer, if you like to read, if you like to cook. So there's so many things to consider. But I also feel like people definitely recognize me with my use of mid-century modern, the shapes, the organic textures, the clean lines, and then I love to totally do the opposite and then infuse organic shapes and asymmetry and curves. And I think that combination is really what defines my style, and I think you'll see it a lot throughout my home. And right next to my living room is my kitchen. It's just really nice to have that dual space that functions so easily for our lifestyle. And I love how bright this kitchen is. We get such gorgeous natural light, so we hardly ever need to use our overhead. I also love actually the colors of the buildings. I like to sort of think about what is outside of the space as much as I think about inside. It really should all flow. It should resonate with each other. And so this building here, just in the center, is this really beautiful blue. And I actually think that the blue that I chose really coordinates with it. So that's just a fun little feature. When we renovated it, I think I 100% knew that I wanted the classic black and white checkerboard tile. That was really important to me. And, so from there, we just kind of did whatever. I mean, it's interesting is that before I really was in this sort of design career, I always had inclinations about what I liked and things that I thought worked or didn't. I picked these cabinets out and, mostly just because I wanted it to be very fresh and bright. And I also like that it's glossy because it feels a little bit more like modern and contemporary without it being too kitschy and too like retro, themey. So I think that there's something nice about that glossiness and just that simplicity. And then adding this hardware obviously kind of gives it a little bit of character. It's got these sort of cool like faceted details and they kind of pop against the white. And again, black and white, baby. This is like a nice black quartz top, great for cooking on, doing whatever, heat resistant. And then our appliances, we got, all new appliances. So we upgraded the appliances, which is fabulous. Nothing super fancy, but just like definitely a big step up from what was here before. It's a really perfectly functioning space. Espresso machine. This is like OG from Starbucks. I don't remember the year, but like I don't even think they make them anymore. But you can even see like their logo is kind of like, it's sort of a different branding than what it is now. So that's kind of cool that we have a little like piece of Starbucks history. To me, this was so over the top. I couldn't believe I did this, but I actually bought, like little matching spice jars that have even like labels. And this was a project that I did probably while watching like The Real Housewives or something. But it honestly makes the space look so much more put together and cohesive. So, it was a nice upgrade from all the branded spices. So I really like this little picturesque spot. And of course, we really wanted to find ways that we could utilize the wall storage as much as possible. So, we added like these big shelves for pots and pans. We have another one over here. It's sort of like the retro kitchen, just the exposed, stainless steel. So, I think it adds character. It kind of brings in another texture and something that obviously relates to a kitchen. So I like the open storage of it all. And then of course, as I mentioned, our built-in. So this is one of the built-ins, again, original, definitely needs a little bit of work. It's kind of, it's seen a couple years, but this is such a, again, a beautiful addition to the space. And something that we did to cater to our kitty cats in the house that also live here full time, we actually opened up the base of this cabinet. So it used to have a door. We took the door off. We had to do a little bit of cutting, and we just got a litter robot machine. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but I will say it's been kind of the perfect solution because the cats have almost like a little privacy. And, it's neutral, it's white, it's kind of looks high tech. So, I don't know, I'm pretty proud of that. And I think it's a great way to hide, ugly cat stuff. Oh, and then of course, how could I forget? This is one of my favorite features that really connects the living room to the kitchen. This was a really fun addition, and this is a vintage like little metal chain piece. This kind of feels a little bit like grandma's house, but I love it for that. And it's massive, so we can fit a ton of things. I don't always have like beautiful color-coded fruits in here. That's just for you guys today. It's usually like bread and all this stuff, but we gotta play it up. And there is some fake fruit as well. Actually, the fake fruit, you can definitely tell which is fake and which is real. I mean, I'm sorry. It doesn't really look, it's not the best replica, shall we say. But, you know, it's a little fun, a fun touch to the space. So I wanted to draw your attention to this area because these are such incredible photographs that we purchased. It was actually part of a fundraiser during COVID. It was raising money for Elmhurst Hospital during, like, it was one of kind of the worst, you know, most chaotic hospitals during the time. So they really wanted to, you know, raise awareness, raise money. And so incredible photographers not donated, but, you know, sold their work for like literally like a tenth, an eighth of the price. So it was an opportunity for people that really wanted to own like incredible photography. It gave them that chance. So we definitely ran with it. We got 2 pieces. I love this piece. This is by a New York photographer called Vincent van du Vanguard. It's just such a beautiful like background, and I love the dress and how it's cascading. And then this is really fun. This is by a photographer called Matt Jones. And it's like this couple kind of snuggling at the Guggenheim, which I feel like this is something I would do with my husband. I like PDA. He doesn't as much, but anyway, it just resonated with me. So I love these pieces and the fact that we were able to, you know, get such fine art for a good cause. Yeah. And then I wanted to, just behind me, talk about this really like very perfectly straight door frame. Just kidding. I mean, look at this. This is a perfect example of what I was talking about with the sloping of our home. So a lot of old homes, they're not even at all. They have obviously wear and tear over the years, the weather changing, whatever it may be, humidity, water. And so, yeah, this is an example of one of the fun little quirks of living in a pre-war space. And, you know, not necessarily something that we were like, oh, we must fix this, because I do feel like it really gives it character. So yeah, there's a couple of those little like uneven moments. And then, oh, this is for my kitty cat, Ginger. This is actually a very fancy custom cat hammock. We got this, oh, she's got a couple little, again, all the little toys for the babies. But hopefully no real mice in the house, just only fake mice allowed, please. This is our little bistro area, which I think is a really cute and like well-sized dining space. I will admit that we don't really use it for dining as much. We're more of a coffee table on the floor couple, but you know, it's great for parties or when we have groceries, we need to put something down. But you know, adding again this sort of organic material like marble really helps elevate this space, make it give it a little bit more of like a contemporary feel. And then the ghost chairs are vintage. I got these from Kaya, they're Cartel. I think it's really useful to use acrylic and things that don't have as much of a, heavy footprint when you're designing a smaller space, because yeah, they're like see-through. So they're functional, but they might as well be invisible. So yeah, I'm happy with this little area. There's a couple challenges with railroad apartments. I think the fact that it's just one shot, right? So you see the entire space in any room. So you need to make sure that the rooms feel cohesive and connected. So you do have to think about the space almost as like one big room. It essentially is that. It's one big hallway. And I think the other thing is that, it doesn't get as much light as say, some other spaces in the city, because those middle rooms, you know, yes, I'm lucky enough that we do have a window in every one of those middle rooms, but there is a building directly, you know, connected to ours, so we don't get a ton of light. So finding ways to make the space feel bright and energetic throughout the day is a challenge. And of course, you know, I would say the fact that we have 0 closets, like literally not one closet is in this house. And we do have 3 built-ins that were original to the building, and they have nice, you know, deep drawers, but definitely not a replacement for a closet. So we're constantly, it's like a big game of Tetris in this house. Like we are, you know, discovering new ways to find storage and, you know, constantly having to go through everything. I mean, before you guys came here, I was running around like a mad woman trying to, you know, get all my things out of the corners. And so I think storage for sure is a challenge, but I mean, most New Yorkers would agree with me. Welcome to my Diva room. Now, some of you may say, Ally, why do you need this much space for all of your things? And it's because I have a lot of things, and I also love to show them off because I love clothes, I love fashion, I love, you know, color and prints. Today I'm a little bit more simple and a little bit more neutral, let the home speak for itself. But yeah, I mean, sort of like, I just love to kind of wear, bold outfits, bold prints, lots of texture. We have some beautiful, like my grandmother's old furs, and you know, it's almost that time of year. I cannot wait. It's just a really special thing to be able to like see your stuff all in one place. And obviously if, you know, you want to color code it, go for it. I did, because it's actually like very convenient when choosing an outfit. I also love like supporting a lot of, you know, local New York designers. One of my favorites is, her name is Tyler McGillivray. She's a Brooklyn-based designer. I'll show you a couple of my pieces that I have from her. Oh, these are some of my favorite pieces. Look at this. Stunning. The details, the color, the shape. Love that piece. I probably have worn it like maybe twice, but it's definitely calls for a specific occasion. I also collect a lot of vintage clothing, obviously vintage furniture, vintage clothing. So yeah, some of my favorite items are vintage. This is like a beautiful raincoat that I got. It's such a unique color. It's like a periwinkle-esque. I don't know. I'm not exactly sure how to describe this color, but it's so cool. It's London Fog, which is just like a really iconic brand. So I love that trench. I also love vintage purses. This is another one that is so gorgeous. I got this in New York on a really successful day of shopping. It's just such a statement. Actually, it would look very good with this outfit. Looks good with everything. Again, black and white. I don't know what else to tell you. Look at this. Matching wallet. So cute. Yeah, this is one of my best purchases. So I could go on and on really, because I have so many fun things that I love to show off, but I won't. And yeah, and then just sort of moving on to the color, the palette, the concept of this style, this design. I think I wanted something that felt very boudoir, you know, like there's sort of like something that would be in an old Hollywood movie. And this is also a Farrow and Ball color. It's called Crimson Red. And it's interesting that it's described as red, because to me it reads much more like mauve, sort of more of like a dusty rose, dusty pink. It does look more red at night, so when the natural light is gone, it definitely glows a little bit more and has that reddish tone, like a brownish red. So it's a really transformative color, and I love colors that like take on different different, you know, shapes and you know, palettes throughout the day. So I think that's really, really fun. I knew I wanted to color drench this room, and I also knew that the color really had to, you know, make sense with the other room that's attached to it, because as we just, you know, discussed, this is just essentially one long hallway. So it had to flow nicely. In that same vein, I must show you my lipstick mirror. Kind of scooch around here. It is so iconic, this silhouette. It's so diva, it's glam, definitely sort of part of that, you know, 60s, 70s era, and it has storage. It's a bit messy, don't judge me. Oh my gosh, it is quite messy, but that's okay. I have so much jewelry too. I had my own jewelry business at one point, so I still have tons of pieces from that. But yeah, it's pretty rare to find a lipstick mirror with this much storage. So this was like a must-have. You can see it kind of like goes like that. It's just so unique. I to this day, I haven't seen one with storage. I found this from Dobbin Street Co-op, which is a really awesome vintage secondhand store. They have 2 locations, one in Williamsburg, one in Greenpoint. So yeah, they posted this online, and I immediately was like, I think I was the first person to reach out. I was like, it's mine. So yeah, this is one of my pride and joy possessions. In the same vein as all the lounging, glamorous ladies of our home and our art and decor, I incorporated this Matisse lady, and I thought it was a nice nod to the piece that's in the living room. And I knew that I wanted there to be something large scale and artful here, but of course, being that it's like this long hallway, we have the doors, double doors, so I knew that, you know, putting some kind of like clunkier art piece would be tricky, because I wouldn't want it to get, you know, damaged with the doors opening and closing. So I was trying to get creative, and again, this was a pandemic project. So with these gorgeous moldings, I thought, oh my gosh, this is kind of perfect to make like a large scale art piece that's already attached to the room. So I spent days using like the Robin Buff gold leaf and painting. I have one here, and then I have another one to the right of it. And this definitely was a labor of love, to say the least. I feel as though it's worth talking about this this vanity. I really don't know the history of this vanity. I don't know what era it's from. I found it secondhand. But I was obsessed with so many of the little details, like the scalloping detail here. If you look, I love that wave. It really flows well with like the Matisse pieces. I found this mermaid, another one of my gorgeous sensual women. This I found with my friend. We were out thrifting, and I had to have her. She has this dolphin. She's got a whole little under the sea world. Q and Ariel, right? Little Mermaid. Yeah, I mean, also obviously finding a piece that has a lot of storage. I'm not going to open these because well, I don't know. Maybe it's not a mess. We'll see. Oh, it's a mess. No, we're not doing it. Yeah, so this is a really cool vanity. Definitely something, when I've taken photos of this room, I see this exact sort of shot on Pinterest a lot. People really like this shot specifically because I think it's very, like I said, very glamorous. And I added these shelves. I think that obviously, you know, wanting to utilize the wall space as much as I could, it meant just building up, right? Not out, because I don't have a lot of depth at my advantage. So I think this was a really important decision, and just painting it, color drenching, install the shelves, paint them. They almost have like a built-in feel, and obviously you have to measure and make sure that everything is going to fit all of your items, so that's always a good thing to note. But yeah, I love being able to see a lot of my fun shoes. These are kind of more my party shoe. I want to show you again, sort of on it's my best friend Betty and I at her wedding. I was her maid of honor. But this bag was a gift from one of my other BFFs, Emily. This was my wedding invitation. This was the font, and this is what it said on it. This was kind of like the running theme, very like Shakespearean, Renaissance woman of me. But I was gifted this gorgeous bag. She had her friend customize that, and then if you open it, it says, "Till death do us part," and that's when we got married. And this also, again, was part of my wedding invitation. So this is really special. I love this bag, and this also looks good with my outfit. I love a pop of red. So yeah, that's a piece that I definitely cherish. Now, a glowy light fixture is really important in a space that you want to feel beautiful. You want warm lighting to really like set a nice tone for your makeup and your getting ready sessions. So I thought that this paper light was a beautiful statement, and again, it sort of balances out a lot of like the glamorous elements of the space. I think adding organic natural textures like paper and like the cowhide and anything that just sort of can really ground the room is important. So I think this light is, they're very popular. They're popular for a reason. I honestly feel like having this bamboo room divider as a window treatment is kind of a cool idea, because there is some privacy that you get. B, you still get light coming in, so it doesn't darken the room. And also, I think it's just really cool to kind of create, like another sort of pattern, another sort of decorative element that maybe you wouldn't get otherwise. So this is like a really fun way to bring in some graphic cool details. This is obviously like a floral pattern, and I really like the way that the green lives in the space, and I also like the sound. ASMR, Homeworthy edition. In the same vein as the flowers that you see in the window treatment, we have my stunning Hollywood Regency lamp. This is a classic lotus flower piece, straight from the sort of Hollywood Regency Art Deco era. I love the light that it gives off. It's so feminine. It's like, really pops in this room. And I think it's definitely like one of the statements of the space. I love the bright gold. It's just perfect for a diva room. I started posting on Instagram a ton of, little things I was doing in my home. My friends were all stuck at home, bored during COVID. And so they were really into my content. And then from there, some friends who had moved apartments, and they were, like I said, it was the sort of pandemic time. So some people got their dream homes during that, less than ideal time, and they wanted somebody to help them. So it just almost found me, people asked me to come over to design. I charged them a little bit because I was like, is this what I'm doing? Is this my new job? But I loved it. I was obsessed with it. It was like this treasure hunt. It was like this adult treasure hunt, finding all the puzzle pieces to make this like beautiful, larger picture. And the best part is that it's somebody's home. It's so personal, and it means so much to me that people trust me with that. And I love that I can leave a little piece of me in people's spaces. So that's how I got into it. I started my own business called Doman Decors. You can find me on Instagram at Doman Decors, or my website. And I've been very blessed and lucky that the business is growing every single year. I started it I believe in 2021 or 2. So it's been, you know, it's been a few years, and it's a full-time job, and I love it. Now I'm gonna show you my husband's music studio, office, and his personal dressing room. So we're super lucky to have this really functional space. Obviously, as you can see, Evan is a musician. He's a drummer. He also makes a lot of music. So this room really had to check a lot of boxes. And we also managed to put all of his things in this wardrobe, which, yes, it is an IKEA Pax wardrobe that we sort of blinged out, if you will, with some wallpaper. So I think it's cool to kind of use you know, decals wallpaper to really customize a somewhat, you know, basic piece. I picked this wallpaper, again, it's very graphic, it fits with the tiling and the geometry of the home, and I also think that it's cool because a lot of the black squares are represented here in the small scale, and then you get to see a lot of those squares throughout the walls and the ceiling. And at first when he told me he had to totally treat this room, I was like, oh, what is this gonna look like? I don't want all this like ugly eyesore panels up. But I mean, I will say, I think the way he did it, it definitely has a little bit more of a point of view. It's not just so random. So I'm not mad about it. And again, it's really about the functionality, as I mentioned. I think again, this room just works for him. It's soundproofed, and yeah, and he actually gets a ton of storage. I want to point out this beautiful painting that we're so lucky to have because it's by a very famous artist named McLean, who also is in Evan's family. So he is you know, a very like world famous artist. He's done paintings, illustrations for Time Magazine, Sports Illustrated. He's amazing. He's actually in the Illustration Hall of Fame. So it's incredible that we get to have one of his pieces. And this is a painting of a famous blues musician named Muddy Waters. And Wilson did a whole series of famous jazz blues musicians, which is kind of perfect because Evan grew up playing jazz. He loves jazz and blues. So it was, you know, kismet that he was able to get one of these pieces in his collection. And I love the colors that are here. Obviously, this sort of blues and oranges. And even if you notice, like this is very close to the crimson red that I have in my my dressing room. So I'm actually just noticing that right now. Like sometimes I don't even realize why I do the things I do. And then I look closely and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like living room, sort of kitchen, diva room. Oh, look at that. We have pinstripe. I mean, you know. But anyway, I think this is just brilliant. And of course we need to have a little bit of a downlight shining on it so that it's really highlighted. I think, like, you know, if you can find ways to highlight artwork and things that are important, you should. And in the world of all the beautiful art that we have from Evan's side of the family, this is a painting that was actually done by Evan's grandmother, Joan, and it's of his mother, Nancy. So it's got this really lovely history of all the women that he adores. And again, the running theme of all the ladies in our home, it's super cool that we get to have his mom featured. This is like a photo of her when she was younger, but I love all the colors. And obviously, you know, his grandma and his mother, they're both amazing artists. His mother is an incredible artist. I wish we had some of her pieces in here, but we have some in our home upstate. But anyway, This is also kind of a little fun DIY thing I want to mention, because I knew I wanted to have something along this wardrobe since it's such like a white blank canvas. And again, you're sort of transitioning from each room, so all the different angles are reflected. But so instead of drilling into this wardrobe, I actually hung it with a piece of rope, and I have like a paperweight that's just sitting right up on top of the wardrobe. And I could not believe how sturdy it is. I felt like I was a genius when I did that, because you know, it was just sort of a great solution. And now we get this we get to look at this gorgeous piece every day when we wake up. The best thing about this apartment, I just think I'm so lucky that I get these gorgeous, you know, New York characteristics, like the picture box moldings. I mean, all the trim, the door frames, you know, there's so many stunning details that you just can't really, I mean, of course you can replicate, but it's just nothing like the original. So I think those details are just like, it's priceless, and it makes an interior pop in such a different way than, you know, if you do live in sort of a new build that's just like nice white, you know, clean walls. Our walls have lived a life. They have a lot of stories. I think they definitely are not perfect, but I would take imperfect walls any day if it means I get to have these lovely details. My favorite room in the home, oh my gosh, it's hard to choose because they all work well for different purposes. I think I'm gonna say my bedroom. Blue is my favorite color to use in interior design, and even before I knew anything about interior design, I always gravitated towards blue rooms. The color that is in my bedroom was actually the only color that I chose for the whole house when we were renovating it. I knew that I wanted it white, as I mentioned, but then that blue just stood out to me, and I had this like spiritual connection with it. It's just the perfect mid-tone blue. It's serene, but it's also a little bit energetic because of the undertones. I love how cozy the space is. My cats love the space, so they're always cuddled up in the bedroom, and I'm just like, I love to be horizontal and sleep. So for that reason, I'm gonna say the bedroom. And now directly next to Evan's studio is our bedroom. And this is my favorite room in the house. It is so serene. The blue is just right, in my opinion. It's got the perfect sort of undertone. It's got a little bit of vibrancy, but it's also, again, very soothing, very peaceful. When it's dark in here and it's just sort of lit by like our fixture and some, you know, lamps and pendants, it's just really glowy and moody. So I think it really sets the tone for unwinding after a long day. And what's funny is, you know, I knew that I had to have this color. Like this specific blue it's called Blue Daisy from Benjamin Moore. And this was, again, like before I really knew a lot about interior design. I just kind of knew what I liked and knew what I didn't like, and had kind of a particular taste. But I really was drawn to this color, and I think that initially we had only put it on one wall just to kind of test it out. And throughout the years, I just started putting it on every wall. I painted the ceiling not too long ago. That's been a great addition. Really just making it feel like you're engulfed in this lovely, rich tone. And this room, I feel like, definitely steps away from like the mid-century of it all. It's way more like boho and a little bit more like there's some, you know, Asian influences, and obviously has a lot of art of lovely ladies, as you know, I'm obsessed with. And, you know, taking sort of some pieces that are vintage, also mixed with some more contemporary, is also kind of happening in here. It's definitely mostly vintage though. I really love this, this piece. It's, we actually found this on the street. Funny enough, we have a few pieces in here that are street finds. And you can ask any New Yorker, but I feel like it's pretty common to find really cool treasures on the street of New York. Well, I just wanted to mention that I'm obsessed with peacock feathers. This is kind of a new thing that I discovered. I love how tall they are. I love that like they just have this like feathered effect, and you know, this color is just like almost neon. It's so beautiful. The fact that this is like comes straight from nature is just like mind-blowing sometimes when I think about it. So yeah, I definitely try to put like peacock feathers around spaces as often as I can. And then just behind me, this is Mark Rothko. This is a piece that was just secondhand, but I really love the purple and the pink tones that are against the blue. I think it really, the combination is really, really pretty. And you'll notice that like I'm not very precious about like sticking to one metal or sticking to one wood tone. I really think it's important to like mix and match. I think that, you know, that's how a space really feels curated, collected. And when things are too matchy, I just find that it's, yeah, it can just sort of look like a showroom. So I'm definitely not afraid to do that, and you'll see that the mixing throughout this room specifically. So as I mentioned, borrowing some Asian influences, I found this gorgeous room divider, another street find. Actually, Evan found this, so this was one of his treasures. And I think that, you know, in a railroad home, it can be quite awkward when you're decorating this specific corner, because this is also an entrance and exit. So the door just behind it. We don't use that one, so it is usually, you know, locked up, but I think obviously you don't want to have like a chair or like a storage piece blocking this. So what do? Well, just get creative, find something that's easy to move. A lot of times we're just storing a lot of stuff under here. So this is like our hub for extra things. I had to really organize that to show you this lovely view. So I'm glad that I did it, because I'm quite proud of myself right now. Very decluttered. And then moving on, you know, I love this cabinet. This is something that I think this like mango wood with this really unique color and graining is so beautiful. We have this like cool sort of hammered brass that just really pops against the wood. This was also a secondhand piece, and perfect for all of our blankets and things like that. And then if you'll look up, you'll see, well, I'm very proud of this bouquet. I just made this, and once again, see the feather details. And I love the purple. Oh, purple, blue, and green. Mwah. So good. Anyway, but if you can look past my fabulous bouquet, this is another piece that has some relationship to Evan's family, because this is actually of Evan's grandmother, the same woman that painted the piece of his mother. This is her posing, and this was done by an artist. His name is Millard. I don't know a lot about him, but I love this because I love this sort of like shadowing and her silhouette, and she's very stoic yet pleasant. So it's quite a neutral portrait. I think it's a good one to wake up to, and just be reminded of all the beautiful women that are in Evan's family. And I also love the carving details of this frame. This came with the piece. It's just so unique. I really have never seen anything quite like it. So a really special feature. I cannot leave out this pillar, side table, whatever you want to call it. This is so iconic. This is something that I also got in that same trip to Dobbin Street Co-op. And this is just this really like cool wood piece that has these intricate carvings. And it's very Grecian, Roman inspired. I really don't know the history of it, and I wish I did, because I find it so fascinating, that it's just like the detailing is so clear. But yeah, this was also a huge, exciting vintage find for me, because I think it just works so well in this space, and especially because it's like a white ivory color, it really stands out. So, but this is actually like mostly of men, and of course I had to balance out the genders by placing a naked woman on top of it. My Matisse, right? Sort of the call back to that wallpaper that you saw in my bedroom. So lots of motifs in this house, lots of little Easter eggs. And then moving on, this is my desk area. I don't really sit at this desk that much. It's definitely more used for storage, my nightstand, but you know, I think eventually I'm gonna probably upgrade and just put like a larger, taller cabinet here, because I have a lot of samples that come in and I work from home, so definitely need more storage here, but this is great for now. You know, I always like to put a little bit of a fuzzy pad on the chair. So the cats like that too, and it's very soft and adds a nice texture. And then, of course, you know, moving on to just the main focal point, which is the bed. It's very simple. I definitely didn't really want any kind of like big bed frame. I actually used to have a headboard here. And I always felt like there was something that wasn't quite right with the space. I couldn't put my finger on it, but there was just something about the bed and the headboard, and it felt very like clunky. And I realized that maybe what the issue was that like this bump out here, right? A lot of these old buildings have these. A lot of times they used to be fireplaces, or, you know, you don't know what's behind there. We never tried to look, but I don't want to ruin this wall because we get this stunning trim. But I realized that this bump out was sort of a natural headboard. So as soon as I took away the headboard, I was like, that's it. That was what I was doing wrong here. And it just means you have to have like a lot of extra pillows and things like that when you're sort of relaxing, but we're definitely not short of pillows in this house. And I think that, yeah, I think that it's like also a lovely way to showcase a piece of art, because you don't have like the headboard as the sort of focal point. This is another lady. Oh, she's definitely kind of a different lady. She's obviously naked, so it still has that like sensuality, but I also think that she's a little bit more solemn, maybe has gone through something. There's something sort of solemn in her pose, but yet it doesn't make me upset. It's just it's sort of something like, what is she thinking? What's the mystery? What's her secret? What did she go through? So I love that, and I found this in when I was thrifting in Williamsburg. So this is one of my first pieces that I found. And this is a small thing, but I just love the way her eyeshadow, or maybe it's not makeup, maybe it's just what the artist chose to do to highlight her eyes. But I love that there's just a subtle little speck of blue, just to bring it all together. Definitely like to keep the bedding simple. I think, you know, the walls and the pieces are really the standout items of the home. So the bedding is just very neutral. This is like a tencel fabric, so it's almost like a very breathable, soft, silky texture. But I love this pillow. This is a handmade piece, made in Brooklyn. Gotta support my Brooklyn artists. I love the colors here. You can see how nicely it goes with the walls. And again, this sort of floral motif, I think, is something I love to highlight. Just bringing in nature. And yeah, her name is, the company is called Loo Plush, Loo Plush, Lou Plush. They make these just really cool, like uniquely shaped pillows. So I'm happy to rock this right in the center. And this brings me to where my cat is so stunningly posed. This is, hi baby. Oh, I told you the cats love this room. She's being so cute. Look at her. She's a ham. She's kind of like upstaging me. Are you upstaging mommy? Are you upstaging mommy? You're so cute. This antique steamer trunk is from a Victorian era, so it's really cool to have a piece like that in this room. I also am obsessed with these details. This is like a floral, I think it's almost like, you can kind of tell, but it's like almost like a wallpaper. There's some kind of a vinyl. If you open it up, I'm not going to because she's looking so cute right now, but the same wallpaper is inside. So that was a really cool detail that I just was gravitating towards when I purchased it. And I feel like this is sort of like my grown-up dress-up box. I don't know if anyone else, when they were kids playing dress-up, they had like a big trunk that they put all their like tutus in and fancy outfits, but that's what's going on inside here. So if I were to open this, it'd be like an explosion of tulle. But anyway, I think trunks are a really chic way to bring in like storage that's sort of different from a cabinet or a wardrobe. This is a really cool mirror that I had somebody hand make for me. I actually found this artist on Etsy, which is such an amazing resource to find artisanal and like really custom pieces, whether it be mirrors, furniture. I use Etsy for like literally everything, bedding, window treatments, like you name it, vintage, oh, the best vintage. But yeah, this is such a cool mirror. I think finding something to put in between two windows can always be a little bit of a challenge, and this just is the perfect size. And I think using organic shapes to really make the space feel soft and inviting is important. And I love that this is like what you see right when you walk in. And I think it's also just important to utilize mirrors as much as you can, especially in a railroad or in a place where, you know, you want to make look bigger. I mean, it's obvious, right? You get like the reflection going, and it's also really cool to be able to see like different elements and vignettes of the room through the mirror. Like right now, what I'm looking at is like my bouquet and the art. So I think that mirrors are a really cool way to like tell the story of the space. Living in New York, there's so much chaos. You know, you step out of your front door and you have no idea what the day is gonna bring you. It can be loud, it can be smelly, it can be a perfect, beautiful fall day. You can meet new people, but like I said, it can be chaos. And so for me, home is that moment when you open the door after a long day, your feet hurt, your bag's heavy, and you just drop your stuff down. It smells the way you want it to smell. It looks the way you want it to look. It's like a big, warm hug, and you know, it's a place that you can just, I mean, I immediately put on my PJs when I get home and I plop on the couch. It's just my happy place. It's my, you know, my comfort. You know, seeing my husband, big hug when I get home. My kitties run up to me. You know, hopefully some food is being cooked. Some flowers are being styled, and you know, it's just the place where you can be yourself and be chill and relax.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.